Good morning. I hope you have had a wonderful start to your Friday. It's quite humid out the door, but we are expecting our temperatures to get much warmer. Those humidity dew points are expected to be a little more stickier as we go into the day. But taking a live look at Decatur, beautiful start to the Friday morning. We're seeing a beautiful amount of clouds in the sky this morning. So we're seeing that for the day. And as we continue to check our temperatures, we're finally warming up into those 80s. We stuck around the mid and low end 70s for a good portion of the morning. We're just now getting to those mid 80s for the most part. We're seeing 84 here in Huntsville, 83 for Meridianville. Fort Payne's still rather cool, as well as Russellville. 81 is where they sit this morning, and Haleyville at 80. So as we continue throughout the day, our high is expected to be around 93 or so for some of these areas. Once again, we're going to see these thunderstorms and hot humidity continue throughout the next couple of days, but we'll start to see rain chances dwindle. So for our thunderstorms today has the greater chance of rain for the next couple of days. And we'll start to see that percentage fade off as we continue for the rest of our weekend ahead, which is some good news. But as we all know, once we lose moisture here in the valley, that makes more and more room for some high heat. So we can expect to see that for the next coming days. And we've got actually some first alert weather days to note in the coming week as well. So enjoy this mild weather, as I should say, as mild as we're going to see for the next couple of days. Once again, high is expected to be around 93. Our humidity points, though, not expected to be too far beyond that. So if you're planning to sit poolside today, it's a good day to do so. We're going to see temperatures right around those mid 80s from now until noon. As we continue into the afternoon, that's when we start to see those 90-degree marks for the most part, and those rain chances start to file in closer to the 4 and 5 o'clock hour. We could see a stray shower or two just before that point in the day. Around 1 or 2 o'clock in some areas, you may see a passing shower or so, but the bulk of the thunderstorms planned for this evening and forecasted expected to be well into the night. So make sure you keep your umbrella on standby, especially if you have some outdoor plans this evening. I know some folks are planning to head out to the park for Light Up the Night here in Huntsville. So we're hoping that that's not going to be a washout, but of course we'll keep it forecasted right here. And as Brad Travis comes in, Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis comes in this afternoon, he'll have a better detailed outlook for you. We're seeing just scattered showers and storms, but the closer we get to that timeline, the better we're able to pin down where and when those showers will be. So as always, you can check right here, and he'll be in later this afternoon to give any updates. So as far as heat index, like I mentioned a moment ago, we're not too far off from our regular temperature. Our feel-like temperature, though, we're expecting to see temperatures feel around the 98 to 99 degree mark. Now, that's going to be a little more comfortable than what we're going to see in the next coming days. We're under that 100 degree mark, feels like wise, which is good, so we won't have to deal with any heat advisories. However, we do have a couple to note in the community. We've got Wayne, Lawrence, and Giles County. So if you know folks out there, or if you're there yourself, that heat advisory is going to go through 8 p.m. And regardless of if you are or aren't in this heat advisory, this is still a good opportunity for you to think about making sure you plan your day around the highest heat points of the day, usually in the early afternoon, late morning times. So in the next hour or two, we're about to get into those high heat hours of the day. You want to plan around that. Make sure you're giving yourself time to spend in the shade, take breaks from the heat. If you're working in the heat, make sure you're hydrating and wearing light colored clothing, as well as not heavy clothing also. You want to make sure you're really giving yourself and your body an opportunity to embrace some type of air and breathe a bit as you go through the day. So again, we could see a stray shower or two heading into the noon and 1 o'clock hours. As we continue throughout our afternoon, we'll start to see these showers become stronger in nature, closer to the 5 and 6 o'clock hour. Look over near Phil Campbell, around 83 degrees is where that will sit, but you can see there's heavy downpours on the way there for 6:30 tonight. We could see that decrease a little bit with some of that daytime heating cooling off a tad, but throughout the rest of the night, we'll see rain chances flow through and finally dissipate closer to the 9:30 and 10 o'clock hour. So if you had some later evening plans, maybe you plan to get out and about right around that 9 to 10 o'clock hour, you'll start to see some drier conditions. However, it's going to be a little damp outside. It's going to be a little humid as you head out the door. So keep that in mind as well, especially for my ladies as you style your hair. It's going to be a little humid heading out the door tonight, but we do have clearer conditions. As you can see, not too many clouds to note passing into your Saturday. We just have some tiny showers here and there in the morning, but we start to expect greater showers later in the day. But once again, we are seeing rain chances decrease heading into your Saturday and your Sunday, 30% slated for Saturday. So heat advisories, once again, Giles County, Wayne, and Lawrence. All three of these counties are in a heat advisory at the moment that will end tonight at 8 p.m., which is good news. You're starting to see some cooler temperatures moving into the weekend. However, once again, we do have that first alert weather day, or several coming up in the next week. So what we're seeing right now is that dangerous heat in those three counties. Most of us are experiencing some high heat today, which is still quite on the crucial point of making sure you're staying hydrated and everything, but it's elevated in these areas because we're seeing heat index numbers right around that 105 to 108 area, and that's what starts to cause heat advisories. Anytime that we're under 100, like today, a good portion of us will be at a feels like temperature of around 99. That's typically when we start to see those higher heat days, but we don't deal with the heat advisory. So it's not brutal heat that we're dealing with. However, once we get those feel like temperatures up through the roof of that 100-degree mark, that's when things start to become a little more dangerous as you are outside, maybe your kids are outside. If you have pets or you have some elderly neighbors in your neighborhood, that's when things start to get dangerous, even for something so simple as sitting out on the porch or letting your pets play in your patio, your backyard area, or in the driveway with the kids playing. Maybe they have a basketball hoop. There's a lot of details to pay attention here that you may not typically think about as folks are in and outside. I'm going to check and see if we've got some comments at all. Let's see. But for the most part, it's rather warm as we continue throughout most of the day. So keep that in mind. Hydration is key, especially this time of year. You want to make sure that you are well hydrated, especially heading into next week. I keep talking about that first alert weather day, the 4 that we're going to see. So I'll show you what crazy temperatures we're going to see in the next couple of days, and I'm not just putting on for that. So here's what we're expecting from our weekend. Enjoy the mild weather, if we could call it that. Enjoy it for what it is at the moment. We're seeing those rain chances decrease. Again, with that decrease in rain chances and moisture in our area, we're starting to see an increase in those temperatures. We've got 30% chance of rain, temperatures at 92 for Saturday. Sunday, it's flipped. We're seeing a 20% chance of rain, but we're creeping into those mid-90s, 95 here in Huntsville. So once we get through the rest of your weekend, it's only up from there. Temperatures will become brutally hot starting Monday and taking you straight to that 7-day forecast, rolling into the 10-day. Here's what we're expecting after Sunday. We have 4. You can count it there. We've got 4 first alert weather days. All temperatures are ranging right around the 100-degree mark if they aren't at it. That means our feel-like temperatures well into 109, 110 for a good deal of our areas here in the valley. We have those low rain chances to continue for those days as well. You'll see 20%, 10%, and like I keep mentioning, low moisture makes for some unbearable heat. So if you, or maybe you have kids or pets or even elderly neighbors that have some opportunities that they want to spend outside, you maybe have something planned for outdoors, make sure you are planning it around the hottest points of the day. It needs to be early morning plans or well into the evening. You want to think maybe 5, 6 o'clock as folks are getting off from work, as the sun is beginning to set. That's when you want to start thinking about, hey, maybe we can have our backyard barbecue, or even if the kids decide to go out and play, let them play up until around 10 to 11 a.m. That's when we start to see that heat increase for sure. Again, those are 4 first alert weather days that it's going to be rinse and repeat of some high heat. Keep it in check. Make sure you are staying hydrated. It's going to be a hot couple of days. Now, the following days behind that, I know the forecast looks a little crazy behind that. We're seeing that 100-degree on Thursday and walking into Friday at 89, barely touching 90. Here's what we're holding out for. We have a cold front possibly moving in around Thursday evening, heading into your Friday, early Friday morning as well. But you can see that's when rain chances are welcomed back into our forecast. So once we start to see more of that moisture into our communities in the valley, we'll start to see cooler conditions along with that cold front moving in. And we're holding out the hope, keeping the fingers crossed that it's going to be a strong cold front as, you know, the kids are starting school again. We have some recess. I know my mom is a teacher and she's mostly concerned about keeping all of her students as safe as possible. Lots of teachers with that on their mind, even parents as you send your kiddos off to school and they start for the first week of classes. You want to make sure that they are outside hydrated regardless of what the weather looks like, because these are some hot days. But heading into that next weekend, it's going to be much cooler than what we've seen, and boy, do we need it. We'll take a little bit of a break any chance that we can get. So once again, temperatures will drop for a while into the following week, and that's when we could possibly see a warm up, but we'll be back into maybe the low end 90s around that point. Again, we're welcoming those rain chances as well. So anywhere between 30 to 50% chances of rain. So we just have to push through Monday through Thursday. Make sure you're starting your hydration today. Get your plans together, get your affairs in order before you start your week ahead, because it'll be a hot one. So as always, you can keep up to date right here via Facebook, YouTube. You can also check in on us on our broadcast, as well as making sure you have the WAFF 48 weather and news app. It'll keep you up to date with all the heat advisories possible. And honestly, once we head into some of these first alert weather days, heat advisories, I honestly would not at all be surprised if we have several that span across all of these days in all of our communities. It's going to be a hot, hot week ahead. So take this weekend, enjoy it, spend your time outside. It's almost as if we're closing out summer with some of the most outrageous heat, but we want you to make sure that you're spending your time in the valley safely. So without any other updates so far, make sure you're staying hydrated, stay safe, and always use that sunscreen and those sunglasses. Protect yourself from the sun. Make sure you're having a wonderful Friday, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.